Alright, good morning everyone. Yesterday I did a little video on how to create a test sheet, and then today I'm going to actually focus on how to do your actual assessment or put your quiz or test up in your class. Again, that test sheet, that can be a worksheet. I mean, it's kind of, you can use it quite loosely. Again, you go into your view my personal folder. Sorry, still working on my first copy. And then in this folder, once you get many things, you can start organizing it like I have with folders. But so the one I created yesterday is just quiz 1. It was just like a little test that I did. And this again is where I would come in to kind of edit it, change it, etc. So build it. And this is where it's going to be kept, so you can use it from year to year. So basically, now that I've created my test questions or my quiz questions, or even call it a worksheet if you want to use it as a check-in for your kids at the end of a week to kind of see if they've understood certain concepts, and it's a great little tool for that as well. So it's in there. So I'm going to, again, I'm just going to use my class here that is not being used, native languages. And so let's say my native language. So again, in Edsby, there's always a few ways of getting to the same thing, which is a good thing, and sometimes I know it can be a little confusing, right? But so you could go here to assessment and create your test. You could also go here under content, which is what I always say I'm going to do. And just to keep things organized, that's what I am going to do, is go into there, edit, and then go into my plus sign. So the only reason why I like to do it this way is, again, it just keeps these nice and organized so the kids come on here and they just see if that works. I think when you do it on the wall, it doesn't necessarily enter in here in content, and so just for consistency's sake, so the kids can see that progression of what's going on, I like to do it in content, okay? So again, you're looking at basically to make a quiz test, or really, like I said, an interactive worksheet here that they can enter things in. You go to this assessment piece. So I click on assessment, I come to this page, which looks identical to the other one. It's the same thing. And again, let's call this, give it a little title. So I'm going to call it quiz 1, week 2, whatever. And you can call it whatever you want. Again, the type, you can call it whatever you like. This is a quiz, so I'm going to give it that name. But again, you could have gone in there and typed test, worksheet, check-in. I use check-in quite a bit, actually. So whatever works for you, and whatever you want to call it. It just allows them to see that title when you first go in. Again, the standards or the expectations, up to you if you want to link it or not. You don't have to do that. Online submission, this is where it gets a little different than your regular kind of assessment where they're going to just create something to hand in. So if they were just submitting an assignment, you would have a file upload. In this case, we're calling it an online test. And that, when you click on that, opens up this field, which is choose a question sheet, which is what we've created, right? So again, that question sheet could have been, it could be a quiz, the test, a worksheet. So I'm going to choose that sheet now. And again, if you remember, I called it quiz 1. So it opens up automatically to my personal folder. It's kind of the only place that it goes to for this test sheet. It's nowhere else. And I'm finding that if I haven't organized it into one of my folders, it's right at the bottom, the last thing I did. Okay, so I'm going to click on that, and now it's uploaded, right? So that's where it is right there. So here's where it kind of gets important for us now during this time. Time limit, you can give it, so that is from the time that they open it until the time they close it or submit it. How much time do you want them to have on it, right? So it looks like you can go as far as seconds, 1 second, which is ridiculous. You could leave it unlimited. You could give them an hour. You can type in here 3 hours. So that's, again, from the time they open it to the time they submit it. How much time did you want to work on it? All right. Keep in mind the kids that you have in your room and the accommodations you may have. You may just want to leave it unlimited. And the kids who are going to go through it quickly, they'll go through it quickly. If it's a 15-minute thing, if I'm giving an hour, I think that's pretty reasonable as well. In a normal classroom, that's what I might do. Right now for this, I might give it 3 hours. I don't know. All right, so you kind of make that call. If it's just a worksheet, you may just leave it open, and that's it. All right, so number of attempts. So that is when they finish, they hit submit. You get the one like, oh, I forgot that one question. But if it's on number of attempts 1, too bad, it's done. If you want to give them up to 2 attempts, what they do is they submit the first time, and then they realize, oh shoot, I need to go back and I forgot that one question. when they submit, it essentially shows again, resubmit or retake test. That's what it is. It says retake test. So they can go back and they can change. All right, so that is for that option there. So again, if you don't need them to go back, you can do this. If you know if it's maybe the first or second time you're doing this, I kind of always left it open to 2, because then that way there was always that 1 or 2 kids who were like, oh, I hit the hit button by accident, whatever. So this way it allows them themselves to just retake it again. As they become pros, then you can just do the 1. All right, randomized questions and randomized answers. Of course, so randomized questions, again, it just shifts up the questions, especially in a class setting where they're all in the same room. That comes in handy, unless there's no progression to the questions, right? Randomized answers, that mainly is speaking about the multiple choice questions and the select all but or right. So essentially, if you do that, it just shuffles up the questions within, the answers within a question, but it won't do much for example, your short answers. All right. Scheduling, closing, open, schedule, open, close times. So basically, this is where some of you are asking about, and the difference between, again, the time limit is how much time they have once they open it to complete it. How many chances they have to complete it. Okay. Under schedule, you can basically schedule, yes, the day it's going to open, the time it's going to open at, and the day it's going to close, and the time it's going to close. So if you wanted to, for example, for next week, this is where some of you were asking about that. This is where you can plan it. Next Friday, this is when this little quiz is happening. And it's going to close next Friday. And open it at 8 in the morning. Make sure you got AM here, column, right? So 8 a.m. And I want it to close by midnight. Nope, that's lunch. 11:45 p.m. So if that's how I'm scheduling this particular test, what does that mean? It means that it's going to show up on their feed next Friday the 24th at 8 a.m. It will stay open. So whenever they log in, it will stay open. That doesn't mean they have all day to complete it. As I've stated up here, they've got, from the time they open it, 3 hours. So if it's sitting there, they haven't opened it. Okay? So that means that it will sit there, though, for that period of time. Once they open it, in this case, they're going to have 3 hours to complete it. So if they open it at 5 o'clock in the evening, they're going to have to complete that test within 3 hours, so that by 8 o'clock it's done. If they open it at 10 o'clock at night, they're going to have to get it done within the hour and a half. It's going to close at 11:45. Okay? Now, I haven't been booted out of that, so I'm pretty sure if they were to open it at, let's say, 11 o'clock at night and they continued working on it till 1, I don't see the system booting them out. I'm sure they would still be able to continue it, but they might not be able to submit a second question or a second time. Hopefully that makes sense about this. So yes, you can go ahead and schedule things in advance. Personally, I've always just open and close on the spot, so part of my morning, as I get their stuff out or whatever, I might just open it on that day. All right, and then so manually I can open it, and manually I'm going to close it. Once I saw that everybody has submitted, okay, now I'll close it. But if you want to schedule it, absolutely you can. All right, but let's just keep in mind, they're distance learning, we're trying to give them as much of a window as possible. This gives you you can give them a whole week even. You can have it open on a Monday, close on the Friday. And again, this part here, well, when you do open it, you only have 3 hours to do it. Or you only have 1 hour to do it, even though it might take you 10 minutes. Hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, send me a private message. And again, our grading, formative, this is what I'm selecting pretty much with everything nowadays. Out of this now, if you notice, you might be like, well, what the heck, it's not letting me change it. Right, because our test sheet, we gave each question a mark, right? It was out of 1, it was out of 5, it was out of 3, so that's done. Here it does not give us any options. All right, so that's done. Same with the out of. Not do anything. Instructions for students, you may want to give those instructions. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, in grade 7. If you want to, you realize you have about 3 hours to complete this test, you should take about 10 to 15 minutes. Or you should take no more than half an hour. But it'll be open. If you want to do that, there's where you can put those instructions. Okay? Again, if there's anything else the students need, you can put it here. If it's something for yourself, maybe it's the answer key for this test, so you remember what it is, you can put it there, but again, the answer is built in, so I've never really used that. And that's it. You hit save. And you go. Alright. For now, I'm going to hit save because So I'm going to show you guys a quick little other thing that we have here. So let's say you hit save, it's sitting there, right? When you go into your content, and the reason why I like my content is you go on this content, and then up here, you can edit this. Not the test, but the actual time the test can happen. You can go into history, and in history, what's nice about it is that it tells you if a person has gone in here. So I'll just go in another class of mine for a second, and that works with anything that's in content. That's a little side note now, side tangent. So let me go into my discussion here. That might be a good one. That was a little earlier. All right. So in this discussion, when I open it in content, I see this window up top. I'm viewing it right now. That's where it's on. I can edit it if I made a spelling mistake, right? And then if I go into history, if you can see this, again, confidential information, it tells me here every kid who has opened up this particular task. Each time they've logged in to this particular task, not to the actual Edsby, but into this task, that they've opened this folder, let's call it, this discussion, and they have opened it, and they've looked at it. And I can see here that this student, for example, has been in here several times, maybe mulching over it. You can see I came in here a few times. All right, if I don't want to see me, I can just go roll, students. I'm going to just the students. Okay, so here are all the students that were in here. All right, and it tells me that they are a student, that they opened it, that they liked it. She commented on this kid's work, because I'm telling them I want to comment on another child's work as well, and when it happened, about 21 hours ago. All right, so it's very specific, and it's great so that we can see the kids who are active, and I can see the kids who are very active, and kids who normally wouldn't say much, or maybe are not saying much, but I can see that they're on there and seeing what's going on. Okay, so that's a really cool little little tip there for seeing if your kids are tapping into your work or not. Again, because it's in the content. Here's my week 2 information that I gave them, and again, if I go on history, well, I can see the kids taking myself out, just the students who opened that up. All right. Now this is the 3rd place I have this listed, so not many of them come here. They get an email directly to them, their week's work for the week, so I know that's what most of them are using and not coming in here. Anyway, that is it for now. And maybe we'll look at actually marking this thing in your gradebook tomorrow or next week.